الله الكبير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله الكبير. We are all grateful to God for giving us this opportunity, and this is a unique chance for us to redeem ourselves and in a congregational manner. And by God's grace, we have this tool at our hand that we are able to do this. This is and without any interference from any other entity. So it's a huge blessing for us. So we should be accordingly appreciative of God's blessing and thank Him for guiding us. And this is the greatest gift that we could receive from Him. Guidance is the greatest gift. And so we are not lost. We know why we are here. We know that we are appointed by God to be in this position that we are in. And so we are indebted all of our gratitude to the Almighty. And so it's an honor and a privilege for us to have received this message from God, and so we should be accordingly grateful to Him. Again, gratefulness and appreciativeness is a godlike quality. God is always grateful to us for what we do, all the good things that we do. He keeps records of it, and He makes sure that we are rewarded for that. And so that's appreciativeness, that's gratefulness. And so we have to follow His path. And so we should be also grateful to Him for everything that He's providing for us. Today what I wanted to discuss with you is that the reason we're here is we made the bad decision. We made a bad decision, and that decision was the wrong decision, and we disobeyed God. And so we ended up in this exile that we are here. Okay, so when somebody's asking where you're from, basically you're from heaven. Okay, that's where we are originally from. We were from heaven, and we were sent to exile. We were cast down from that place. And the reason for that is because we believed in a lie, and we followed the lie, and we practiced the lie. And we gravitate towards lie, and that does not bode well with the situation at the presence of God. And so only the truth can survive there, and so the untruth cannot survive. And so we were cast out, and so we ended up in this universe. And so God is telling us, He's telling us that when we made that mistake, we basically came into a line, sort of a queue. And so one after another, we are coming to this world, to this universe, and we spend our life here, and God is giving us all the tools that we need in order not to forget the original inspiration of God, that we are inspired and are genetically designed, and we are programmed. And natural instinct that we have is that we are supposed to worship God alone. And if we don't do that, then we are in the state of unhappiness. We're in the state of not being fulfilled with whatever we have in this world. We are in the state of greed and contention and all of the bad things that we could think of. We're in that state if we go against our own nature, which is worshiping God alone. So monotheism is our instinct, and so our natural instinct is monotheism, and so we should follow that natural instinct. And if we do that, then we have a life which is fulfilled, and that life is going to continue in the hereafter, and that going to be in the presence of God and in the company of God, and that's what we are going to be successful for eternity, and that is That should be the goal of all of us. And because the enjoyment of that kind of hereafter is that we are in the presence of God. So that's the best enjoyment that we can actually have. Again, going back to the fact that when we were cast out, God did not leave us alone. Okay, so and we were actually in a position at that time that we did this basically not studying the situation very well. Okay, and God warned us about it. He said that, look, you and your wife, you stay here in this, and you can have everything you want to, except this one tree. Okay, and that you cannot approach this one tree. And so when God told us that, we did not believe Him. Okay, and so and that God calls it lack of basically fortitude. So we were not in a position to understand things very, very well, and we did it out of ignorance and out of malice, maybe sometimes. And so what we did was completely wrong. But again, as I said, God did not leave us alone. And then God says that, okay. And when Adam said that, look, if you do not save us, we're going to be in bad shape. So God said that then he received words through which he could redeem himself. Okay? So those words, what are they? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. I mean, they're just any word that, well, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I was stupid and things like that, and please forgive me. He couldn't say that. He could not say that on his own. That wasn't the right thing to say. Okay. So he was supposed to receive specific words through which he could redeem himself. And those words only can be taught to him by God and no one else. Okay. So we know today that those words, okay, are the words in the Al-Fatiha. Okay. So through which we actually can redeem ourselves. And so we have seen all kinds of mathematical relations in the Quran so far, and there are a lot more that we don't know of. And so we learn every week. We learn about them. Okay. So one of the uniqueness of Al-Fatiha is that it's a 19-based mathematical juxtaposition, if you like. Okay, that every letter is designed by divine design, and when you utter those words and those letters with those sounds, okay, you open up these gates to heaven, basically. And that's why it's so important for us to do our contact prayers. Okay, so we do that 17 times. Okay. So a lot of question comes up, why 17? Why do we do it this way? Why do we do it in our own language? And all kinds of excuses. And the whole thing takes between 14 and 17 minutes. If you do it very slowly, it's going to take 17 minutes of your entire day, which is actually 1,440 minutes. You have in the day, 24 hours, there are 1,440 minutes of time in that unit. In the unit of minutes, there are 1,440 of them. And all God is asking is between 14 and 17 minutes. That's all he's asking. Okay? And he tells us that this is the best thing, because when you think of me, it's the best thing that could happen to you. When you commemorate me, it's the best thing during the contact praise in chapter 29, verse 45. Okay? The greatest thing that could happen is the fact that we are commemorating God. And that is through these words, specific words, God is talking about in the Quran, okay, that Adam received. I don't know what language Adam spoke. I have no idea. Okay. But God can do that in any language that he wishes. In our case, this is the final testament, and he told us to go ahead and do it in this language. So we learn from this that there are 139 letters in that Arabic text of the Al-Fatiha, and that 139 happens to be the 19th additive prime. What is an additive prime? Additive prime is that if you sum up the digits, you're going to get a prime number. And if you sum up the digit of 139, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 9 is 13, and 13 is a prime number. So 139 is an additive prime, and it happens to be the 19th one. Okay? So when you do that, then you also look up to see what is the 139th additive prime. When you do that, you bump into this number, with this prime number, which is 1657. Okay? Listen to me very carefully. 1657. First of all, 1657 is an additive prime, but it's a very specific additive prime because the number of digits adds up to 19 this time. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 5 is 12, plus 7 is 19. Okay? And now we go to the basis, number basis. In the base 19, 1657, if it is written in base 19, in base 10 is going to be 9127. Okay? So every time anybody around the world, for any reason, does the Al-Fatiha in Arabic, okay, that person is basically saying that 9 has 127 verses. Okay? Remember, there is a verse in the Quran in chapter 87. It says, سَنَقْرُئَكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. We will recite to you, إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهِ. Everything is according to God's will. They thought they are going to pen through this. They thought that they are going to bring all kinds of reasons why those two verses are supposed to be there. But they themselves are saying this every day they recite the Al-Fatiha. That 9 has 127 verses. This is what that verse means. Okay? Some people think that that verse in chapter 87, okay, those two verses, we recite to you, do not forget, everything is according to God's will. They think that, oh, when we do bad things, it's also according to God's will. Or if somebody does bad things according to God's will. No, it's not. Okay? That's absolute nonsense. That's absolute lack of understanding who God is. Okay? This is how he forces his things. His system. That system is designed in such a way that nobody can change it. What I just told you is eternal. It's not going to change. Okay? The will of God is in the Quran. He tells us exactly what he wants us to do. Okay? Remember, God says he's the best planner? So if you plan and scheme and all kinds of stuff, okay, and all of those things are going to backfire on you. Because what are you trying to do? Pull a fast one on God? That's what they're trying to do. Lie is pulling a fast one on God. He doesn't want you. He abhors the fact that you are doing this. And abhorrence is not a good feeling. Okay? He says, don't do that. So when somebody is lying, that person is going against God's will. Okay? But in the final analysis, he's going to fail. Because the lie does not exist. It has no physical existence. It's going to fail. The truth has physical existence. The reason that these things are created is because God is creating according to the truth. Okay? And falsehood cannot create anything because it just doesn't exist. So when we do that, okay, when we go through our lives, okay, and we go according with God's will, okay, and then some of them are forced upon us and we don't even know it. Remember they said even the shadows fall within God's command? Okay. That's the way He's designed things, according to truth. So people think that if they do something, they can change it. They can change the truth. It doesn't work that way. So every time somebody does the Al-Fatiha, okay, that person is going to say the same thing that I just said. He's going to say that 9 has 127 verses, and no one can change it. Okay. Then some people say, well, we shouldn't do the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of Al-Fatiha. We should start with Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So 6 verses only. Okay. There's another answer to that. Remember, I kept on saying 19, 19, 19. Okay. If you count all the verses from 1-1 to 1998 and include, listen to this, and include all the unnumbered Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. You are going to get 2363. This number is 17. Listen very carefully. 17 times 139. We just said that 139 is the number of letters in Al-Fatiha. 17 is the number of times you recite Al-Fatiha during the contact prayers every day. Okay, can you believe that? And now, why is Bismillah in there? Because it tells you have to do the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You cannot do it without that. That's why you add those 17 unnumbered Bismillahs, it becomes 2363 until the end of chapter 19. This is how He's designed it. They are forced to do these things. So again, I'll go back to that verse in chapter 87. Okay? The Most High, Al-A'la. Okay. So, in that one, says, we will recite to you, do not forget. So I'm going to say that again. We will recite to you, do not forget. Everything is according to God's will. You cannot change these things. Okay? So every time you try to poke something in there and get it your own way for one reason or another, I don't know what the reasons are. Okay? They think they can pull a fast one on God. I mean, that is beyond comprehension. It's nothing but failure. This is the design that God has implemented in there. And this design is also the design of the universe. Just not this, the design of the universe. So every time somebody monkeys around with these things, okay, it's going to fail. And this is a huge warning to a lot of people that they think they can get away with this. Okay. Disobedience of God's commandment is a huge offense against God. Okay. And rejecting this and rejecting that is not going to get anybody to the promised land. Let's put it that way. And as I said, we don't belong to this place. We are from heaven. And so we're sent to exile in this place. And so we got to do our best to get back to where we came from. And if we don't do that, we are going to fail miserably, and that miserable ending is going to be total exclusion from God. Okay? And that place is called hell. Okay? So I'm going to stop here and we'll